Hello and welcome to the Fireworks Knit Along for the 4-day Knit Along by Olive Knits with Not Another Hat. So obviously you're here because we are covering our special tips and tricks for doing a 2-color fireworks. And so we're going to start out with the very basic, which is how to do the fireworks stitch itself and with your second color. And as you can see here in my swatch, I have already established a few fireworks here, and here on the back side are my floats, because this is going to be a 2-color knitting technique like stranded knitting. We have our floats. Now right now these fireworks are only separated by 3 stitches, and later on in another video we're going to talk about how to make sure that you leave enough slack in these floats when you have a wider gap between fireworks. But right now we're just going to talk about actually doing the firework itself in the very beginning. And so if you're somebody who can handily work 2 colors with 1 color in each hand, this is going to be really helpful for this project. If not, don't worry, we'll still give you all the tips and tricks you need to do, but it does make things a little bit easier if you can do work with your 1 yarn in your left and 1 yarn in your right. And in this case you would want the yarn you want to pop most to be in your left hand, and then your background or your non-dominant yarn in your right hand. So here I've done my 3 stitches and I'm ready to do a firework. Now for me, even though I do tend to put this back in my left hand, I just am not that adept at making the firework stitch itself with my yarn in the left, so I have to actually just drop my main color and then pick up my firework color from underneath to make the firework stitch. So let's talk about that now. So the firework stitch has us going into the stitch below. So right here I'm going right in to the stitch below, and I'm wrapping my yarn twice. There's my double wrap, carefully bringing that out to keep both wraps on there. Now it's going to be helpful for your tension if you make sure that you get both of those wraps up onto the biggest part of your needle, because you want all of that extra slack for slipping these stitches in the rows to come. So don't be tempted to just let it sit down here on the tip and get really tight. Make sure you get it all the way up here for the full amount of slack that you need in there before you, this is what I call the anchoring stitch. So this is the middle stitch. You just go into your stitch on the needle like normal and you make a stitch and bring it out. And I call that the anchoring stitch because it's kind of it's solidifying how much slack you put in with this double yarn over. And now you're going to make 1 more double yarn over in the row below, which is right down here. We're going right back in down below, and we are wrapping twice. And then I have to use my pointer finger here to help make sure I get all of that out of there without losing anything. And again, I push it up onto the largest diameter portion of my needle. So there's one of my fireworks. And so I'm actually going to set that yarn down to the left, pick up my non-dominant yarn, my background yarn, and work 3 stitches. And we're going to repeat that here. So here we go. Going in to the stitch below right here. Pointy needles are going to be your friend on this project. Double wrapping, bringing it out and all the way up to the full part of the needle, making a regular knit stitch there, and then back down into the space below, double wrap, and out. And that is how we're going to make our fireworks with 2 colors. Now you can see I've got my nice loose floats. As we talked about in our other stranding videos, we have to make sure we are not tight with our floats on the back. All right, good job. Okay, now that we've talked about how to make the firework itself with your contrast color, we're just going to quickly go around and work the next row. So you're going to knit to your firework, and this is just straightforward. It's just as it would be if you were making a single color fireworks. You're going to slip this double wrapped stitch off, and you're going to let that extra wrap come off so that now you have this kind of big, long, weird stitch here. You're going to knit your middle anchor stitch, and then you're going to slip this off. And so you can see the beginnings of what we're working towards, where we're going to create these slipped stitches for several rows. And then we will anchor them down, lock them in with some decreases here after we do a few rows. So let's do those rows now. Okay, we have done all of our slipping rounds now between our fireworks, and we are ready to decrease away these extra stitches that we made our special little firework stitches. So it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to knit to where we're instructed in the pattern. We'll knit 2 together, 1 strand of firework with 1 regular stitch. We'll knit our center stitch, and then we'll do an SSK here on our left leg of our firework. So we're going to slip a zip to knit, slip a zip to knit, go into both of those, and finish that off. And as you can see, it makes our firework lay down nice and pretty. So let's just do 1 more of those. We're going to knit 2 together. Again, sharp needles really helpful with this. Knit our center stitch, and then we'll do an SSK right here with the left leg, and voila, firework.